Dennis was the kind of man people liked instantly. Soft-spoken, respectful, hardworking, and deeply in love. When he met Peace, it felt like something divine had finally settled in his life. She was calm where he was restless, wise where he was impulsive. The kind of woman who didn't just love you, but made you think. At first, everything felt right. Except for one thing. Dennis talked too much. Not in a loud, annoying way, but in a revealing way. Anything that happened in his life, his mother knew. Anything he planned, his mother knew. Anything Peace said, did, complained about, cried about. His mother knew. "Mom, I'm thinking of surprising Peace with a shop, something small, maybe a fashion store," Dennis said one evening, smiling into his phone. On the other end, Margaret, his mother, went quiet for a second. Then she laughed softly. "That's nice, my son. Very nice. Just be careful, women change when they start making their own money." Dennis frowned slightly, but brushed it off. "She's not like that, Mom." Margaret hummed. "Just saying. I know women." Meanwhile, in a different house across town, Peace sat on the edge of her bed, phone pressed to her ear. "Mom. I don't understand Dennis sometimes. I tell him things in private, and somehow, his mother reacts to it days later." Jeanette sighed. "My daughter, men are like that. They don't know how to separate things." "I'm trying to be patient," Peace said quietly. "But it's starting to feel uncomfortable." Jeanette clicked her tongue sympathetically. "You're doing well. Just keep being calm. Don't let anything scatter your home." After the call ended, Jeanette didn't keep the conversation to herself. She picked up her phone again and called Mary. Mary was her best friend. At least, that's what everyone believed. But Mary had her own quiet bitterness. Years of watching others build what she never had. Smiling at weddings, clapping at anniversaries, while going home alone. So when Jeanette said, Peace's marriage is facing small issues, Mary leaned in. "Oh, what happened?" she asked, voice full of concern. But her eyes. Different story. Back in Dennis' home, things started shifting, slowly. That shop he wanted to open for Peace, the landlord suddenly changed his mind. The next shop, someone else paid before him. Another opportunity. It collapsed mysteriously. Every time Dennis shared a plan with his mother, something went wrong. "Maybe it's not the right time," Margaret would say gently. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll try something else," Dennis replied. And he would. And then he would tell her again. Peace started noticing patterns. "Dennis, please," she said one night, her voice calm but firm. "Not everything needs to be shared outside. Some things should stay with us." Dennis sighed. "Why are you making it sound like my mother is an outsider?" "I didn't say that," Peace replied carefully. "I'm just saying, not everything." Dennis shook his head. "You don't understand my mother. She wants the best for me." Peace went quiet. Because somehow, everything she complained about in private was already known somewhere else. Meanwhile, Mary had started giving advice to Jeanette. "You see, don't let your daughter be too soft," Mary said one afternoon. "Men respect strong women." Jeanette nodded slowly. "I'll talk to her." And she did. But the advice carried something else inside it, something sharper. That same week, Peace followed that strength. She spoke more firmly. She questioned more. She pushed back. And Dennis, he didn't understand the sudden change. So what did he do? He told his mother. Everything. Margaret listened quietly, her lips curling slightly when the call ended. "So, she's starting," she whispered to herself. That night, she made a call. A quiet one. No greetings. Just instructions. 2 days later, Dennis was driving home late. Tired. Distracted. His phone rang, it was his mother. He picked it up immediately. Mom. My son, where are you? I'm driving home. Be careful, okay? I had a bad feeling. Dennis smiled faintly. I'm fine. A loud horn blasted. Headlights flashed violently toward him. And in that split second, something felt wrong. Not like an accident. Like something arranged. The car swerved. Tires screamed. Everything went. The car spun violently. Metal scraped. Glass shattered. And then, silence. Dennis' body went limp against the steering wheel, his breath shallow, his ears ringing like the world had been muted. Voices rushed in slowly. Call for help. Is he breathing? Everything faded in and out. But one thing stayed clear in his mind. His mother's voice. My son, be careful. I had a bad feeling. At the hospital. Dennis opened his eyes hours later. The first face he saw. Margaret. Tears in her eyes. Hands trembling. My son, she whispered, gripping his hand. God saved you. Dennis felt something deep in his chest. Relief. Gratitude. Love. In that moment, his trust in her grew even stronger. When praise arrived, she found Margaret already there, in control. I've been here since, Margaret said softly. I couldn't leave him. Praise forced a small smile. Thank you, Ma. But something in her spirit didn't settle. Days passed. Dennis recovered. And instead of questioning anything, he leaned closer to his mother. Mom, if not for you, he said one evening, I don't know what would have happened. Margaret sighed deeply. I just felt it. A mother always knows. Dennis nodded. And from that moment, he told her even more. Every plan after the accident. Every move. Every opportunity that came back into his life. He shared it. Again. And strangely, things started working. Deals went through. Money came in. Opportunities opened. Dennis laughed one night, holding praise. See. I told you. Nothing is wrong. Everything is fine. Praise smiled. But her eyes said something else. Because she noticed something very specific. Dennis had stopped telling her some things first. And started telling his mother first. Meanwhile, in Jeanette's house, the pattern had not stopped. If anything, it had become worse. Mom, it's like someone is interfering again, Praise said over the phone. But this time I can't even explain how. Jeanette frowned. This is not ordinary. As usual. She called Mary. My friend, things are still not stable in my daughter's home, Jeanette said. Mary sighed dramatically. That man's family is the problem. I'm telling you. Jeanette nodded slowly. Yes. I'm starting to think so. But this time, something shifted. A few days later, Jeanette visited Mary unannounced. As she approached the house, she heard voices from inside. She was about to knock. Then she heard her own name. She froze. She keeps telling me everything, Mary was saying, laughing lightly. Jeanette's heart skipped. I don't even stress. Whatever is happening in that marriage, I hear it first. Another voice replied. But how are things still scattering like that? Mary chuckled. You don't understand. Once you know what's going on, it's easy to influence things small. Besides, not every marriage should last. Jeanette's hands went cold. Her chest tightened. Our friend was not a friend. She stepped back quietly. No confrontation. No noise. Just understanding. That same evening, she called Praise. My daughter, from today, you will stop telling me certain things. Praise was confused. Mom. Trust me. Some ears are not safe, even the ones close to you. Back in Dennis' house, another incident happened. Dennis shared a major business deal with his mother. A big one. Life-changing. Don't worry, Mom, he said proudly. This one is settled. Margaret smiled. But this time, she made another call. Only this time, something went wrong. The person she contacted had their own issues. Loose talk. Loose loyalty. Within days, that conversation leaked. Not to Dennis. Not yet. But to someone else. Someone close enough to recognize details. A mutual family acquaintance. That person called Dennis one afternoon. Be careful, he said. Not everything around you is clean. Dennis frowned. What do you mean? There was a pause. Then, I heard something about your plans being discussed somewhere they shouldn't be. Dennis felt a chill. Who said it? I can't say everything, but it didn't come from outside your circle. That night, Dennis couldn't sleep. For the first time, he didn't call his mother. Instead, he started connecting dots. The accident. The timing of our call. Every failed plan before. Every success after. Every leak. Every interference. Then something hit him hard. What if it's not protection? The next morning, he did something different. He created a test. He told his mother a new plan. A fake one. Detailed. Convincing. Then he told no one else. Not Praise. Not friends. No one. And he waited. 3 days later. That exact plan was mentioned to him. By someone who had no business knowing it. Dennis' heart dropped. There was no more confusion. No more denial. No more excuses. Back in Margaret's house. The exposure didn't come quietly. The same person she trusted to help her was confronted by someone else over a different issue. And in anger, everything spilled. Ask Margaret, they shouted. She's the one behind all these things. It spread. Fast. Ugly. Uncontrolled. By the time it reached Dennis, there was nothing left to hide. He didn't shout. All because you do not like your daughter-in-law, my wife. Didn't argue. Didn't fight. He just went silent. Because the deepest betrayal is not from enemies. It's from the person you never questioned. Days later, Dennis sat with Praise. Tears in his eyes. I thought she was protecting me. Praise held his hand gently. I know. Across town, Jeanette cut off Mary completely. No explanations. No drama. Just distance. And for the first time in a long time, everything became quiet. Clean. Protected. Dennis rebuilt his life again. But this time, with wisdom. No more oversharing. No more blind trust. No more open doors for silent enemies. Not every attack comes from outside. Some come from the people who have the most access to you. Too much talking can expose your life to destruction. And not everyone who advises you is for you. Protect your plans. Protect your home. And most importantly, learn the power of silence. Because what you reveal too early can be destroyed before it grows. Share, like and subscribe to my channel. The end.